Good Wednesday morning to you. The EIA report just came out on the 24th day of January 2018, showing a 4 million barrel draw of inventories. That takes us down to 54 million barrels of inventory for the country, compared to 68.2 million barrels of inventory 1 year ago. It's still a pretty considerable difference looking at math on the fly, which is trouble for me. 14.2 million fewer barrels on hand right now than were on hand 1 year ago. And normally at this time of year, I might think that that's a pretty big deal. But the last week, or this week rather, the first 3 days of this week, we've seen the Conway hub and the Mont Belvieu hub lose a good deal of value. Profit taking going on would be my guess, because the traders, the trading community, the banking community, everybody can see the weather forecasts that I've been sending to you. They all have access to those things. It's not like, these things are proprietary, so they know what's coming, and there's been a significant sell-off. But again, this is the year of the off hub. This is not the year of the hub, at least so far. More on the weather here in a second. Exports were off this week, down to 722,000 barrels from 937 the previous week, the delta being 215,000 fewer barrels per day in exports. Demand was up 230,000 barrels per day this week versus the previous week, which doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense to me, but at any rate, I would have thought the prior week would have seen more demand than we had last week on the report. Production also down 61,000 barrels, so that all adds up to a 4 million barrel propane draw, which is a very large weekly draw. When you look at historically, 4 million barrel draw in a week is very big, but today's news, or today's new, is different than the old norm, and 4 million barrel draws don't really seem to turn the knobs, so to speak, in this industry at this point in time. But there is cold coming. Again, I've been sending a lot of weather-related posts the last few days, mostly because I really think that that's the important thing. We're in this warm-up right now, this brief warm-up, this halftime, as I've been mentioning it. The cold is coming. Every day we get closer to, say, February 7th, the weather models are becoming more and more unified in what they're seeing. Organic forecasting methods, like looking at East Asia and what type of weather systems are there. Is it troughing? Is it ridging? What's projected to be there? It looks like nothing but troughs over East Asia out in through the better part of February. Now, what happens there has downstream effects in the United States, 7, 8 days later or so. And that's why you see a lot of troughing in the eastern half of the United States. And what I've been sending you from about February 7th, certainly for the folks in the Midwest and Ohio Valley, February 7th, but then up into the interior Northeast, a couple of days after that, and staying. And the blog post I sent yesterday is one of the longest stretches of anomalous cold I can ever remember seeing. When I say anomalous cold, I mean the longest stretch of time where the temperatures are forecast to be below normal. I'm not saying that we're going to see the severe below normals that we experienced in late December and the first week of January. I actually hope that we don't. That's too cold. That level of cold causes production facilities to drop off their production, and nobody wants that in the Northeast anywhere. But what's being forecast is below normal. How much below normal? I don't know, but the heating degree days are going to add up. And this, if this verifies and we have like a Feb 7 to March 7 run, that's incredible. That is an incredible amount of time below normal for our industry. And we're going to be back in the same issue with trucking availability, with some allocation on some pipelines, trouble getting product. It's going to be a lot of work in February and into March. And we all might not be able to catch our collective breaths until sometime in mid to late March. Now, those are good problems to have. These are the type of things that we want to have. You want cold, but you don't want it too cold. And you don't want it too cold for too long, because then you can't find trucks and you can't get gas, and water everywhere and not a drop to drink. But it is what it is. And we all just we all had our pregame warm-up, I think, in late December and the first week of January. Because I think what's coming next has a chance, if these forecasts verify, to be longer than what we just experienced. Not as cold, maybe not as severe cold, not as record-breaking cold, but longer. And longer means batten down the hatches and hold on. So as far as prices are concerned at the hubs and off hub, again, right now, for a lot of people in the Ohio Valley and in the Northeast, price is really immaterial. It's just getting the trucks and getting the product. The Midwest, that are fed by pipelines, prices are coming back down. I think we'll see things move back up here in February once the demand picks up again with the onset of the cold weather. That's it for now. I will also have a blog post with these numbers so you can see the numbers and not just hear me talk about the numbers, because I know that can be confusing. Thank you for watching.